Dear students, I'd like to take this time to review some components of the syllabus and welcome you all to class. My name is Chloe Lancaster, and first off I want to say that I love assessment and I hope that I can instill some of my enthusiasm for assessment in you all by the end of the semester. As you can tell, I'm not from here. I'm originally from England, but I've been in the United States for the past 20 years, first in Texas, then in Tennessee. My background in schools was as a middle school special education teacher and then as an elementary school counsellor. For the past several years, I was a school counsellor professor at the University of Memphis in Tennessee, moving last semester to USF. My experience in assessment really spans my career as a special education teacher, school counsellor, and as a researcher. I think when people or students hear the word assessment, they are filled with dread, primarily as they strongly dislike being tested. I want to challenge that gut reaction. My overarching learning goal for you all is that you finish this course with a healthy attitude and appreciation for assessment. As you become more familiar with different forms of assessment in educational settings, you will, I hope, realise that assessment helps provide the missing link of information that can help us to piece together the puzzle of why a child is behaving a certain way. To turn briefly to the syllabus. First, you'll notice that the course has a textbook and 2 instruments that you will need to purchase. Unfortunately, high-quality assessments often come at a cost, and the MBTI and Strong are 2 well worth investment. As you scroll down, and I'll go ahead and scroll down, I provide details about the weekly schedule. For the most part, I try and keep assignments very consistent when it comes to online classes. With that in mind, each week there'll be a discussion board and a quiz that are drawn from the week's assigned reading list. So moving down to assignment 3 is data collection practice. For this assignment, you're required to administer the behaviour system for children the behaviour assessment children, sorry, let me say that again, it's a bit of a mouthful. You're required to administer the behaviour assessment system for children 3, which is, in other words, it's called the BASC, to 5 children ages 12 to 22 years of age. The BASC 3 is a self-report survey completed by the child. However, it is rather long, and depending on the child, I may read it to them. We can talk more about the finer points of test administration later on in this course. From what I want to understand, most of you are concurrently in your practicum and or internship setting, so should have access to a student population. If you do not, please let me know and I will link you to Dr. Topadir to find you a site where you can conduct test administration. Also, if you are at a site with no 12-year-olds, please let me know so we can identify a solution. Assuming that you have a site and access to students, you will work with your school counsellor to identify students who may be good candidates for further screening. The BASC is used extensively within RTI and PBIS tiered intervention models, so I hope that perhaps you can work with the PBIS or RTI system that is in place in your school to identify students with academic and behavioural problems. Once again, work with your supervising counsellor. Also worth noting is that I've reduced the number of assessments, I've reduced the number of assessments from 20 to 5. My goal is that you have a meaningful experience and not a draining one. You will have to obtain informed consent to assess the students. Consent forms are provided in the syllabus. Another recommendation for finding candidates to assess is you assess those students you are working with to obtain counselling tapes. Presumably you have to obtain parental permission to tape. I would also include permission to assess. Well, that's just a thought. My philosophy is that you always do what your site supervisor would like you to do. So that site supervisors come before my helpful suggestions. In other information for this assignment, all the informed consent forms should be obtained and scanned into a single PDF file by March 4th. And rule of thumb, do not test anybody before you have approval. So my goal in this introduction is not to laboriously read through every detail of the assignment. I'd rather you read the syllabus yourself and get back to me with your specific questions. Other than the major assignments, this course will be organised into weekly modules. Weekly modules will be released on Monday morning at the latest, and the week's assignment will be due on midnight on Sunday evening. I'm just scrolling down to the weekly schedule so you can kind of get a sense of what each week's going to look like. For those of you who are new to online learning, you can find the weekly assignments in the module that corresponds to the week of the semester. For example, this week's module is called Week 1. When you get a chance, go ahead and click on Week 1 in Canvas. We're starting off slow this week as I'd like to get to know you a little better. With that in mind, I've created a discussion post that asks you the following. Tell me your name, more importantly, your preferred name, a fun fact about yourself, and what are your initial thoughts about assessment. Finally, what would you like to get out of this class? The instructions for this assignment are also on the module under week 1, so you don't have to keep replaying my instructions here. Anyway, my goal is just to say hello and welcome to class, and I'm really looking forward to this semester. This is the first time I've taught assessment, but assessment has been such a rich part of my career. I'm really thrilled to have an opportunity to teach this class. And so with that in mind, get your textbooks, get your assessments, complete this week's discussion board, and as you get your textbooks, start reading chapter 1. The week 2's lesson will be released on Sunday night, Monday morning, and just please let me know how I can help you. Have a successful semester. Okay, thank you, and I'll sign off now. Bye.